Pulsechain and PulseX go with global regulation with the SEC. God. Hey man, did you know the SEC said that EOS was an unregistered security? And did you know that EOS settled with the SEC for $27 million and got an exemption from the SEC to continue doing business? And you can buy and use EOS today. So is there any record of the SEC taking down a functioning chain by calling it a security? I mean, they even said Filecoin was a security, didn't they? Filecoin's functioning. So this parade of imaginary horrors crap that I hear, it bothers me. Now, if you want to talk about, and I don't know why you do, but apparently you do, what is sufficiently decentralized? If what you have is sufficiently decentralized and people don't put money into a common pool with the expectation of profit solely from the work of others, and there is no essential managerial or entrepreneurial effort, you don't have a security. Oh, and then fun fact, because you seem like a hater, I like it when I hear people say things like SEC is going to lock people up. The SEC is not a criminal enforcement agency and cannot lock you up and does not have agents to kick in your door and lock you up. They are not the Department of Justice. The most they can do is file civil lawsuits and or refer things to the Department of Justice so that they can do their job. So that's a little bit of education for you. Furthermore, the vast majority of human behaviors are not regulated by the SEC. You have a problem with your employer? Not the SEC. You bought a work from home business opportunity? Not the SEC. Your boyfriend slapped your little hater mouth too hard, made your eyes tear up? Not the SEC. So why people have these fan fiction fantasies of like, so I respect what the SEC does. They want to stop people from getting scammed. I love that. And I hope that they do a wonderful job at stopping people from getting scammed. I'm out here working hard to achieve what the SEC is trying to achieve. The SEC wants people to stop getting scammed. I want people to stop getting scammed. Here's the difference between us. I see people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to scams on YouTube every day. And I do everything I can to try and educate people to stop falling for that. I don't see the SEC doing that. So in that area, I am doing more to stop scams than the SEC is. I try to get people to realize that the prices drop 85% in cryptocurrency really often. I don't hear that type of messaging from the SEC. I hear things like risk and volatility, but people don't understand that means 85% drop. And so I'm more accurate in explaining the risk and the likelihood of incurring that risk than they are. And so, I respect what they're doing. I hope that they do a great job at it, but it looks like I'm doing more to stop scams than they are currently. And I hope that they can learn from some of the tactics I'm trying to use to help prevent people from getting scammed. You got to think about it. There's jurisdictional arbitrage. So because they're a US-based entity, they don't have subpoena power and investigative power and enforcement power and injunctive power internationally as they would in the US. And then they can only usually act after the fact. And usually if someone's already been scammed out of all their money, it doesn't get brought back to them. And so there's only, in my opinion, there's only 3 ways to prevent scams. Not that you care about that because you're just a hating piece of crap, my guess. But if you care about humans the way I do and you actually want to see them stop getting scammed, there's only 3 ways that I know of that you can do it. And only one of them can actually work. So one is you give more funding and hire more people for enforcement, and it doesn't work because of regulatory arbitrage. If you've got countries where they can't enforce the murder laws, they're definitely not enforcing the make a token laws. Second, they only act post facto for the most part, and they don't get the money back for the most part. And so, furthermore, they don't have the marketing budget, right? Like I have the time to go and edit all my usernames and tell people beware imposters, don't fall for scam websites, don't fall for scam giveaways, don't fall for fake MetaMasks. I have to give this long, I've got a whole video dedicated on how not to get scammed, which by the way, I don't see the SEC producing that content. I made a whole video on how not to get scammed in crypto. And so I'm trying to achieve the same goals they're trying to achieve. I probably have more followers on YouTube than they do, so maybe I'm making more impact, right? But we're trying to achieve the same goals. We don't want to see people get scammed. So what's the third way, right? So you have amplify enforcement. Doesn't work because of regulatory arbitrage. Arbitrage isn't the right word, but multiple jurisdictions exist. You've got the fact that they don't have a marketing budget, right? And even if they did, no one believed their sales pitch. Yelling at people, please stop getting scammed, doesn't work. They don't even believe you. They believe the scams instead of you. And half the time, if you're not really artful with it, you'll advertise the scam by saying what not to do. They'll type the website and they'll go get scammed by the website, which is why I invented something called the risk diode, where if you're already being scammed, I give you enough info to know that you're being scammed, but I don't introduce new people to the scam by mentioning it by name and giving you a URL to go to get scammed by. These are tactics that I've learned over years of experience in the industry to help get people better outcomes. So what's the third thing that actually can work? If you make a superior product that has product market fit, that meets people's needs, that has the features and benefits that they want, then that can go and on-ramp people. And when that thing absorbs their money, whether it's an index fund and the S&P 500, whether it's just buying whatever stocks people think are the golden boy stocks, any of those things keeps their money out of the hands of the scammers. Because if someone has already invested their investable income into something that is safe and secure and awesome, then they don't have it left to get taken away by the scammers. And so real world useful products that make the world more efficient, that remove counterparty risk, that remove middlemen, that reduce fees, these things make the world, that have better hours, that have better features, these things make the world a better place. And then the more money that goes into these things, the less money is left over for the disgusting scammers. And if you have profit margins on those things and you operate a business, then you can afford to do marketing against the scammers. Because traditionally it's very hard to market against scammers because they have infinite profit margins since they're just scamming. They get the money and they don't have actual costs of performing actual business. So in my opinion, the correct way, the scalable way to have maximum impact to prevent people from being scammed is to get everyone invested into things that are awesome so that their money is not sitting there to get them scammed out of. So similar to the phrase like idle hands are the devil's playground, people sitting on all this helicopter money that the Fed keeps printing, they invest in a lot of very stupid things, like serial numbers loosely related to JPEGs, or coins where they just change the logo. How is that making the world more efficient? Or coins that have a 10% fee to transfer your coin. It costs you 10% to get in, 10% to get out, which means if you buy, you're instantly already down 20% on paper. Terrible, right? Yeah, so my respect to the SEC, we have the same intention. We want to see people stop getting scammed. But it's tragic to me that in chat rooms and in cryptocurrency communities, the only time people mention the SEC is to, one, hate on them, or to two, try and use them as a threat against other people.